What's going on, everyone? LA Sports back with another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about Brian Flores, as I would love Brian Flores as the next New York Giants head coach, but I don't think it's likely. I'm going to be, just talking about Brian Flores in this video, and explaining what I think about him. And I said in the video yesterday I was going to have a Brian Flores video, so here it is. Before I start, guys, please like, please subscribe. Let's get right into the video. Alright guys, so Brian Flores, let's just start off with a bit of an overview. Of course, he was the most shocking firing of this offseason so far. He, of course, has ties to Bill Belichick, much like Joe Judge did when he came in. But Brian Flores is a bit, a lot better coach than Joe Judge, of course. He took a bad Dolphins team and every year he got them better. Maybe I guess you could say he took a little step back between last season and this season, but he was still a good football team. And over the course of his 3 seasons in Miami, he was 24-25. Of course, that first season, a lot of people had them winning 1 or 2 games. He got 5 wins out of that team. Of course, last season I believe he was 10-6, and then this season, it was a bit, I guess you could say, a bit of an off season. It wasn't, what we expected from the Dolphins, but they were still above 500. They were 9-8. They had a huge win streak after they started 1-7. They were really close to the playoffs. He beat Bill Belichick 4 times in the past 3 seasons of him being in Miami. So, 4-2 record in 3 seasons against the greatest head coach is pretty damn good. He served as the assistant coach for the Patriots from 2008 to 2018, so he has a huge background in the NFL and with one of the better organizations ever. So he's got Super Bowls under his belt, and the thing I really like about him is he's young, and I think that's the route the Giants are going with in terms of the GM, and I think the GM is going to hire a young head coach. Now, I don't think that this is the most likely head coach that the Giants will turn to. In fact, I think it might be a little unlikely because of who we're bringing in as the GM, and I think they might want to bring in their own guy. But the thing that interests me with Flores is that he's 4 years old and he's from Brooklyn, New York. So, he's from nearby. And apparently he said that, this would be, in terms of all the head coaching jobs right now, this would be at the top of his list. Now, I just don't know, if the GM that comes in would bring in Brian Flores. I think the most likely thing for Flores is probably to go to Houston. He's talked about, he wanted to trade for Watson back in Miami. And if he were to go there and kind of try and revive Watson's career with the Houston Texans, I think that's a very likely thing to happen. And maybe Joe Judge follows him there. Who knows? But I think Brian Flores is definitely interesting because if you bring in Brian Flores, I think Patrick Graham remains as the defensive coordinator if Brian Flores is with that decision, which I think he will be because of the ties that he had back with the New England Patriots. Overall, I just think Brian Flores is a great head coach. I think he would be perfect for this New York Giants job. He's my favorite of the available head coaches. I know Jim Harbaugh would probably be ahead of him, but I just can't see Jim Harbaugh coming to the Giants if he even came to the NFL. I think if he does come to the NFL, it's going to be he's going to be going to Vegas. And Derek Carr said, his future with the Raiders is really going to be dependent on who the head coach is. So I think that if Jim Harbaugh were to leave Michigan, I think he ends up going to Vegas. But other than Jim Harbaugh, Brian Flores is my favorite head coach that's available. I don't think, though, that's the most likely thing for the Giants. I think if I'm going to make my predictions right now, I think they hire Joe Schoen as the GM, and I think he brings in his own guy, who I think would be Brian Daboll, and I think he would be the head coach of the Giants. Maybe Ken Dorsey will be the offensive coordinator, and all that stuff. I just would really, really be happy with Brian Flores. I'm not going to flip out if they don't get him, obviously. I understand. I think if you bring in Peters from the 49ers, he might bring in McDaniel. If you bring in Shane from the Bills, he might bring in Daboll. So, it's very tough to tell right now and predict who the head coach is going to be when we don't know the GM. But if I had to, like I said, if I had to predict right now, I would say the Giants go with Joe Schoen as the GM, and then he brings in the Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator to be the head coach. in Ryan Dable. So it's definitely going to be an interesting next week or so. The Giants are bringing Ortiz from the Baltimore Ravens today for an interview. So we'll see how that goes. But at the when it's all said and done, I think the Giants by Tuesday or Wednesday, I think we will have the decision on the head coach, on the GM, and then they will do their head coaching search. And I'm sure most guys that we're interviewing out of the 9, I think one of those 9 is going to be the guy. But I think out of those 9 guys, they probably all have ideas of who they would want to be their head coach. They're still going to conduct a good coaching search, but I think they have their top candidate in the back of their mind. But I really, really like Brian Flores. Like I said, he's a guy who is, he's from Brooklyn. He has tons of experience, especially under Bill Belichick. I just don't think it's the most likely thing for Brian Flores to come here, just because the Giants are probably going to bring in a GM that has no ties to Flores. So I just think that it's not as likely as some of the other candidates, but I still definitely think there's a slim possibility, and I'd be ecstatic if he were. But that's all I got in this video, guys. You guys let me know down below in the comment section your thoughts on Brian Flores. As like I said, I think the Giants should make him the next head coach of the Giants, but I understand if he's not, and I'm not expecting him to be. I think we're going to have a better idea of who the head coach might be by about early to mid next week, when we know who our general manager is going to be. But like I said, that's all I got in this video, guys. You guys let me know down below in the comment section who you want as the GM, who you want as the head coach, and what do you think the possibility is of Brian Flores being the next head coach of your New York Giants. That's all I got in this video, guys. You guys, please leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. We'll see you guys all in the next video. Let's go Giants.